Okay, we are back. I'm very happy to have on the Goldstein on Gelt show Bob Rosenschein, who's the founder and CEO of Curiyo. Bob, I'm curious, what is Curiyo all about?
Okay, well, I'll just give you a word of background. I'm an American-Israeli serial entrepreneur, what they call. I've started a number of businesses. I grew up in Pennsylvania, went to school in Boston at MIT, lived in Israel for many years. Probably my best-known company was Answers.com. I was the founder and CEO of Answers.com. We were public on NASDAQ. We had an exit where we were sold the year before last to a large private equity group in California. And then I decided to do another startup, and I called it Curiyo. And the concept is so simple. It's still too hard to search for information on the web. You know, you might say, well, I just go to Google or Bing or Yahoo, and that's all true. But what we do is drill down into the word. Every word is hot. Every word is live. If you've installed our software, you can click, what we call long click, an idea we got from the tablet. You can long click on any word on the screen, and up pops a quick explanation. But the benefit for us, Curiyo, is basically that you don't have to go away and open up a new tab and start typing and copying and pasting and searching and backing and forthing. It's all about getting information to come to you instead of you going to it. And so we want to save you time and make you know things you didn't know before about any word, person, place, or thing, news, sports, weather, etc.
So it's kind of live on the website.
It makes every word on every website live. It's completely dynamic, so you could click on any word on your screen, literally. It could be on any website. Click on a word on the screen, long click, and if you hold your mouse down for a second using Curiyo, then you get a full explanation from a number of sources, all kinds of interesting things. It could be images and news and background and Twitter, what they're saying about this. It's basically live information at your fingertips in one click.
Okay, so is there anything particularly Israeli about this? Because this is an Israeli startup.
Well, I don't know. We hope it has very general purpose. I can tell you that we launched it just a couple of weeks ago. Walt Mossberg of the Wall Street Journal called it valuable and easy to use. It's a very nice piece in the Wall Street Journal. But what's interesting is we've already had visitors. I think this morning I checked from 166 countries around the world, places that probably I don't know it's Israeli. But we've had a tremendous amount of interest in the software. We're having a lot of fun with it. And it's that simple. Curiyo is basically for, feed your curiosity. You want to know more about something, you can click on it with Curiyo. What makes it Israeli is that it's information retrieval from a different angle. And Israelis like to, think out of the box. There's a lot of creativity, I would say, and innovation in Israeli high tech. I probably don't have to tell any of your listeners just, how much technology they're using today in so many American products that have been purchased or licensed or partnered with large American corporations, from Google, who has 2 R&D labs in Israel, Microsoft, of course, Yahoo, you name it, IBM, Motorola, they're all here in large numbers, and there's Samsung. There's a lot of innovation that comes out of Israel that's built into technology that we use around the world every day.
So one of the things that people say about that is they actually say that Israel therefore suffers from a kind of brain drain because we develop the ideas in Israel and then it's all ultimately sold out of Israel and Israel doesn't benefit from that. Is that your experience?
No, I actually think the opposite. Were there some finite number of good ideas in the world and we gave them up and sold them and they belonged to somebody else, the beauty of it is you have a young generation of new entrepreneurs and technologists inventing constantly all kinds of wild and new cool things. And so were there going to be a limited number of good ideas, we're going to use them all up and sell them to the American giants. I just saw, last year eBay bought this company called the Gift Project, and it's a real center of innovation for eBay. But do you think for a second that the people who did well in that company didn't go and start more companies and invest in new things? So it's a continuous, what I call virtuous cycle, where, yes, some of the ideas are sold to other companies, but guess what? There's so many good ideas coming up from behind. The world can certainly use plenty of innovation, both technological, and by the way, it's not just high-tech and computers. It's in desalination and medical technology and diagnostic equipment and solar energy, and there's so much going on in Israel now. So I'm not too worried that the ideas we sold are the last ones we'll have.
I won't worry about that too much either. We're talking with serial entrepreneur Bob Rosenschein, who is currently the founder and CEO of Curiyo, which is a kind of a neat search app that you can add onto your browser to find out more information about whatever you're reading without having to travel away from the page. Let's focus a little more on what you were talking about, which is the business side of being a startup. I think one of the issues that a lot of people have spoken about, not only in Israeli startups, but just in the startup world, is that the high-tech guys who come up with the ideas don't necessarily have a model for how they will ultimately monetize this, how they'll make money from it.
Yeah.
Can you explain the model of Curiyo?
Sure. Well, for us, the model is going to be based on advertising-based, much as, the giants could be Google or Yahoo. We're also thinking along those lines. Facebook is an ad-based company, which means if you have enough traffic, and believe me, you need to have lots of users and lots of traffic to make this work. But if you have enough traffic and you show ads in a polite and appropriate fashion, you can make money from those ads because some percentage of people will click on them or see them or use them. And that's a model that's worked very well for the giants such as Yahoo, Google, and Facebook. That's the model we're adopting, but there's really a secret side of the business that hasn't come out yet too much. What people see today if they go to Curiyo.com, and I should say Curiyo is spelled C-U-R-I-Y-O, Curiyo, and it's a tool for the curious. If people go to the website, they can download something that will work with their browser. So if you're using Internet Explorer or Firefox or Chrome or Apple Safari, it'll work just fine on a desktop, and you can click on any word and look it up. But there's a whole other side that hasn't been really announced yet, or hasn't been really shipped and delivered yet, and that's going to be for publishers. So we are currently developing tools which will help bloggers and publishers of all sizes expose their content better to their readers. So the value proposition for the user is save me time, make me feel smarter, get me information without leaving the page. That's hopefully very useful and valuable. The value proposition for the publishers and bloggers is the flip side of that. Make my readers happier, which is always important, and let them get information without leaving the page. They may never come back. Bringing their information to their readers is a big deal. In that version of the product, no download will be required at all, and people will be able to share their content more effectively with their reading audiences. So we think there's a great business model in that, and we're definitely working hard, and we have a low budget, but we've made a lot of progress with our very talented team and resources, and we're excited about coming to market with this.
A lot of people talk about the ad-based model as a way of building a business, and there are lots and lots of businesses on the web that are trying to do that. People put Google ads or some sort of ad on their website. Is this infinite? Is the amount of advertisers out there so much that there can be that they can really support so many businesses? Or after a while, will people just say, forget it, I got to find a different medium?
Yeah. Well, it's also possible. There's certainly different models that work for different companies and different size companies, different type of companies. Look, I'll say two things. First of all, you have to have a really good amount of traffic, and I can tell you this from Answers.com. We were a top 20 site in the U.S. We had over 50 million different visitors, unique visitors, according to ComScore, 95 million worldwide. A large site. You need to have a lot of visitors to make money from an ad-based model. Okay, if you're a blogger with 1,000 readers a week, you're going to get pennies. It's not necessarily worth it on a scale. You need to scale it up. And certainly with Curiyo, we're going to be adding different languages and scaling around the world. We also have our cost structure under control. So we think that is going to be a good model for us. But I want to say something in general about advertising-based. And you see it today. Maybe it's unfortunate. A lot of the newspapers are suffering. Why? Because it costs a lot of money to print the paper and distribute the paper and to print the stock prices in the paper. There's a lot more efficient ways of getting that information in the hands of the people who consume it. And that's why so much is going online. The young generation, forget about it. They're all over the online, and they're reading news differently. They're not reading the whole paper.
And are they clicking on ads as well that make it worthwhile?
Some percentage will click on ads. Look, one of the ingenious things that Google did really 10 years ago was they invented textual ads, not graphical picture ads. I mean, they sell both, but the ones you'll see on Google.com are text ads, and more importantly, relevant text ads. So if you look up hotels in Chicago, they'll show you paid advertising. You couldn't buy a placement on a Google results page. You could you could do whatever you want, but they won't put you in first place unless their algorithms think it's relevant. But you can buy paid placement in their advertising, which is usually on the right of the screen. They call it sponsored links, or sometimes they call it ads. And you'll see the ads are well identified, but they're textual and relevant. That's a huge thing. So if you're looking for certain kinds of information, there's certain media where people actually like ads. In a magazine, people will actually be upset and studied if you didn't have ads. They consider that part of the content. In search engine world, relevant ads are very much considered content, especially on the local front. If you're looking for a plumber or a dentist, that could be very, very useful to have local advertising. But let's not make a mistake. We will have to have considerable reach and scale for that model to work from a business perspective.
Okay, well, we will wish you luck. Bob, we're just about out of time. We've been talking to Bob Rosenschein, who came up with a new idea, as he's come up with many, many new ideas. His most recent one is called Curiyo. We'll put a link at the show notes of GoldsteinOnGelt.com so people can get direct to it and see it. Bob, in the last few seconds, just tell us, what's the best way for people to keep up with the company and to learn how the company is developing and getting funded as well?
Great. Well, first of all, the news and the different testimonials and different things are always on the website. But you can keep in touch with us on Facebook. We have a page. You just look for Curiyo, Curiyo, and you can like our page and follow us, and also on Twitter. Our Curiyo handle on Twitter is actually BeCuriyo, BeCuriyo, BeCuriyo on Twitter. You can follow it and you get all kinds of updates. For other people interested either in the press or investment, the best way is to contact me. I'll tell you my email is pretty easy to guess, bob@curiyo.com. But I'm easy to reach and happy to hear from people. And it's just been a pleasure to be with you on your show, Doug. Thanks.
All right. Bob Rosenschein, thanks so much for your time.
Okay, all the best.
You've been listening to the Goldstein on Gelt Show with money maven Doug Goldstein. Doug's weekly radio show is heard around the world, but if you miss it, you can download the podcast at www.goldsteinongelt.com. The Goldstein on Gelt Show gives you up-to-date financial ideas so you can get on the path to financial freedom. If you'd like your questions answered on the air or off, send Doug an email to doug@profile-financial.com. It's your money for your future, so join Doug every week to build your wealth on the Goldstein on Gelt Show.